I'll show you how to configure your Kubernetes application pod to enable AppMap and how to access this AppMap data directly from your code editor extension. To record AppMap data of your application running in Kubernetes via Minikube, you'll need to add the AppMap libraries to your application. You can see here I've added them to this Python project. And with this added to my requirements file, I can then ensure that my container is built with this library included. With the AppMap library installed into my container, I just need to edit the application's deployment configuration to include the language-specific options which will trigger the AppMap integration. Refer to the AppMap documentation for language-specific deployment instructions. In order to access the AppMap data within the pod, we'll create a volume mount for the temp AppMap directory within our application run directory, and we'll mount this volume to the Minikube host at a specific path. Now, we'll start our Minikube cluster, and then we'll launch the dashboard so that we can interact with our pod deployment. With our cluster running, and prior to deploying our pod, we'll mount our local temp AppMap directory to the Minikube host at the same endpoint we used in the previous deployment YAML configuration. With that directory mounted, we can SSH to the host and confirm that if we create a file in that directory, we'll see it in our local machine within the temp AppMap dir. And you'll see here we can confirm we have full read-write functionality. You'll see that we want our pod to use the host path setting to mount a volume to the same path we just mounted our local machine into. This is how our code editor will access AppMap data. With the volume mounted and working, we'll apply our deployment YAMLs to the Minikube cluster and wait for the application to become available. We can then tunnel to the load balancer for our application, and you'll see we now can access our pod on our local host port 8888. Now, by interacting with our application, AppMap data will stream in from the pod's container to the host directory, which is currently mounted to our machine. This then gives AppMap Navie access to this AppMap data, which is used as valuable context to any questions we ask to the LLM, providing much more detailed and accurate answers from our coding architect.